Thank you for joining us again this afternoon. Scott, thanks for getting us live. Today I have Amanda here with me monitoring the chat, and we are going to be discussing the section roadmap in this session today. We've done a lot of work today and over the last couple months to get us to this point. Just to recap what we've talked about today, we've talked about Connection Plus. We've talked about the multiple toolkits that we have available to you, the marketing toolkit, the AWIM toolkit. We've talked about mentoring. We've talked about connecting with your student chapters. And that's really to bring you guys full circle and talk about the roadmap. So the program today was outlined very strategically to bring us to where we are right now. So Scott, would you mind bringing up that the presentation for me? So you've all hopefully seen this already. It was emailed out to you guys probably a few months ago, or at least a month ago at this point. I think it was either the July email that I sent to you or the August email that I sent to you. I can't remember. It's escaping me right now. But what this was meant to do was really help walk you through what could help you be successful as a section. It wasn't necessarily what you absolutely had to do. These weren't things that we are requiring you to do, things that were necessary, but they were helpful hints, things that we thought would be beneficial for you to do. Sections, we realize each one is unique. Each one's have trials, tribulations, difficulties that they are facing. But we also realize each one of you are successful in different ways, right? So what might be working for one section might not be working for another. What could potentially work for one section might not work at all for another. So what this roadmap was really meant to do was give you guys different options for success throughout the course of the year. You know what, Scott, I don't think this is sharing. I have a comment here that the screen isn't sharing. Is it working yet?
Never mind yet. It's on a little bit of delay though.
Okay.
Yeah, I see.
You see it? Just give us 1 second, guys, while we get this working. Sorry. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. Let me see if I can get it to work. Bear with us, guys. Scott, I'm going to see if I can do it on my end, okay? Can you guys see it now?
It takes a minute though.
Anything coming across?
I see you.
No?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so now you should be seeing this. Okay, so recapping. So the reason, again, we put this together was to give you guys a working document to help you be successful. As you can see, real clearly, it wasn't, these weren't things that, again, that were required of you, but more or less just helpful hints that we hope would help you be successful. And as I said earlier in one of the sessions, if you were part of it, we know that not everything is going to work for everybody. And the tools and resources that we are giving to you this year and today, we are trying them. We know the reason we surveyed you guys in March and April was we were trying to get a baseline for where everybody was. And we realized that all of the sections were at different places. Some were very successful, other ones were struggling to do the very bare minimum. And so that survey provided us with that information. What we want to do is we want to get everybody, to an operating level, and we want to survey you guys again come the same time again next year, see where everybody's at, and then provide you guys with additional tools and resources to move forward. And then we want to revamp those tools and resources to continue to help everybody be successful. So this is one of the tools or resource, whatever you want to call it, to help you guys continue to move forward. So like I said, the format of today's training was to be able to move through this roadmap in a way that we're able to talk to it so that you understand what's in it and so you understand where to access it and the point of everything that was put into the roadmap. So we've already gone through summer. So over this summer, the roadmap said, you guys should have already updated your section officers. I believe most of you have, excuse me, most of you have already done that. If you haven't, I really, really need you to do that. If there's anybody that you need to add to your board, if there's treasurers that are still outstanding, if you haven't identified who your chair is going to be next year, it's imperative that you get that information to me. I can't issue your dues payments or anything like that until that information is taken care of. In the past, I know some of that stuff hasn't been maybe adhered to as stringent as it should have been, but that information needs to be inputted. We need to know who your chairs are. We need to know who your treasurers are before any excuse me, any dues payments will be released. So again, section officers information needs to be submitted. That should have been submitted over the summer. All of your financial information from the end of the section year already should have been submitted. Again, if it's not, we need that submitted. All of that information should be submitted to sections@sae.org. Amanda Kibler has been reaching out to any of the sections that have been delinquent in submitting that. So again, if you haven't, you probably have already heard from Amanda on that, but please get with her if you don't understand what you need to do, if there's issues with what you need to do. That financial information, we have an obligation to our auditors, to financial services, to get those reports into them. It's not so much that our department needs them, but financial services and our auditors need to have the financial reports submitted. And again, we're not allowed to issue the dues payments until we have those reports submitted. We've gone over the member, or the, you call it member connection. We've gone over the Connection Plus platform. Amanda Hildebrand did a training on that today. So we want to just make sure you guys understand how to utilize that. Hopefully you've taken one of the trainings at this point. If not, it was recorded today. So, make sure you understand how to utilize that to service your members in your area. And then again, Maria was kind enough to do a presentation on social media. So we do have that available for you if you weren't able to join us today for that. And then over the summer, again, you should have been planning for your first fall event. So hopefully you did that too. So that brings us to September, which is where we are. So we should be starting to reach out to our student chapters and officers. That activity has started. So we've made a concerted effort to start connecting our student officers to our chapter officers. So you've probably started to see emails come out from the sections or chapter mailbox that's introducing our student officers to the chapter officers. And what we're hoping is that you begin to make a connect, and some of you are, I don't want to take that away. Some of our some of our sections are very connected to their chapters. So I'm not saying that they're not, but some of them aren't. So what we're trying to do is make that connection holistically across the board for all sections and chapters. So if you're not already connected, what we're hoping to do is build those connections for you. So all of our chapters are being connected to their section officers, so that they, you guys can start inviting them to your events, so the chapters can inform you guys of the events that they're having, and so on and so forth. Hoping that you guys can start to build a network with the local chapters, and the chapters can build their network with you. Maybe provide mentoring opportunities. Maybe invite, like I said, you guys can invite each other to each other's events, potentially do speaking events, tours, whatever is most appropriate for your area. We don't want to tell you what those what is most appropriate for your area. I think you guys are the experts to determine what that is, but we just want to help you make those connections. We think it's important that you welcome your members to the section year. There will be an email coming out from me here shortly on how to do that. That's more or less just using your roster, using member connection to welcome your members, your non-members, and kick off the section year. So look for an email from me shortly. And then some best practices on welcoming new members. There is a new roster, on the FTP site that is specifically calling out new members to your section. So I will explain to you how to identify those new members and how to post a welcome message in your community for those new members. Again, it's more or less just pulling in those individuals and making them feel welcome and hopefully engaging them. And then the rest of this just goes into normal things that a section should do. Hold a board meeting. We've already talked about and had a session on using your marketing toolkit. We are hosting Souls in December. It's going to be here at HQ. We are inviting 2 officers from every section to attend. The location, like I said, is here. The date is you're going to fly in on the Wednesday, which is, I believe, let me look up. Hold on, I don't want to tell you the wrong date. Bear with me. I'm thinking it's the 6th. Oh, no, it's the 7th, December 7th. The training is the 8th and the 9th. I will have you out of here no later than 3:30 on Friday, December 9th, so that you will get home Friday evening. And I have the agenda already lined out. And the theme of Souls this year is sections post-pandemic. So we will come here. We're going to do a full 2 days of training, networking. But what we're going to hopefully come out of Souls with is what sections are going to look like, like I said, post-pandemic. But we'll work up to that, working together, doing sessions just like we did today. And then at the end of that, we'll be able to all go back with a cohesive plan on how we manage holistically and what we can do holistically to improve moving forward. And then you'll see as you go through this roadmap, it's, in this roadmap, I explain to you in detail what's going on at HQ so that you can disseminate that information to your members at the local level. So if we have things going on in member connection, like the mentor mixer, I have the dates in here. Fall student days, I have the dates in here. And then that information correlates with what's in the marketing toolkit. So if you see like the mentor mixer is listed on here, there's going to be information in the marketing toolkit for you to promote that at the local level if you want. It's not a requirement in any way, shape, or form, but if you want content to share out to your members, it's there for you. So it's just a tool. If you need those tools, it's not a requirement, but it's just there to help. That's what all of this is for. Not requirements in any way, shape, or form, just tools to help. My goal, and I think I said this earlier, if you were on the call, I don't want to make more work for anybody. What I want to do is provide you guys with simple tools and resources for you to manage your section. So if there's a month or 2 months where you don't have meetings planned or you don't have content to share, these are simple things you can go in and share out and provide content and meetings and resources for your members. That way your section still looks active. You're still providing those meaningful experiences for the members at the local level. And it's not a heavy lift for you as officers. You're just really going in, you're sharing out the resources we already have available for our members. You're just taking them and you're just disseminating that content at the local level. It's just taking what we have and sharing it out. And you're making sure that they're getting that message. And sure, you can make the argument that they would already know, but they don't. There's so much messaging that comes out from HQ. You know this. It sometimes it just gets lost. A lot of it just becomes white noise. So if they're hearing it from you, it becomes a louder message. It becomes like something that you're offering for them at the local level. It makes it more relevant. So use it, utilize it as much as you want, as little as you want, but it's there for you. Sorry, excuse me. So, then we go into, the fall, and a lot of it, you're going to see it's a lot of the same things, just, worded a little bit differently. So we're, in October, we suggest host a fall event. Could be a happy hour, could be a holiday themed event. We're telling you again, welcome new members that joined in the fall, joined in October. You're going to want to continue to plan board meetings for your fall events. We say, you should probably recognize longtime members in your section. Again, I'll show you how to do that. It's more or less mining your roster data. Everybody's information is within that roster. And I can show you guys how to do that. I will show you how to do that. It'll be in your toolbox. And I will, of course, every time I add something to your toolbox, I either make a post or send it out via email so you know it's there. It won't just pop up and you'll be surprised and you'll have to land upon it by magic. I'll make sure you know it's there. Remember to utilize your marketing toolkit as needed with the collateral that we put in there. I know for sure they're going to do a new book release, so you could promote that if you want. We go into November, maybe you do one of the AWIM activities that we talked about, since it's going to be, again, around the holidays. Maybe that's a nice time to do a family activity. And again, these are just thought starters for you. And this is what this roadmap is for. We are working on, and it's not done out yet, but it's going to be soon, a membership and engagement drive. We'll slot that into this somewhere for you. But just because we slot it in November doesn't mean it has to be hosted in November. You could host it whenever you want. And that's the same with any of these things. Just because it's slotted into November or December doesn't mean that's when you need to host it. Everything is interchangeable. So again, a lot of this is just rinse and repeat. I don't want to necessarily talk through everything. One thing I did want to point out is when we get into January, February, and March. I did want to point out a few things here because these things, are not interchangeable. January is mentor month. We had Corey talk about mentoring this morning. So January, like I said, is mentor month. What I would strongly recommend is planning activities around mentor month. You can connect with myself, you can connect with Corey about what some of those mentoring activities could include. But we are, we're already setting you up with contacts at the colleges. We're setting you up with the chapter officers. So doing a mentor month activity should be something that's pretty easy. You could do a mentoring activity with them. You could do a mentoring activity at just the section level. You could simply tie it into what we're doing at headquarters. But mentoring is an organizational initiative and one that is gaining ground pretty quickly. So if you start to plan a mentoring activity now, and then tie into the social that we're doing around mentoring, I think it's going to just snowball. And it will gain a lot of traction very quickly. And that's what I think if we want to start to move the needle in anything, the more that we can work together on things. So whether it's mentoring or whatever, I think the better off we're going to be. So mentoring is one of those things. I think if we can all plan a mentoring month activity, and it doesn't have to be the same activity, but if you can plan on doing a mentoring activity in January, I think it would just yield amazing benefits. February is Engineers Month, or Engineers Week. Jeez, oh man, I'm losing track here. So Engineers Week, and same thing. So there's always this huge initiative around activities during EWeek. So if we know about that now, perhaps you could do an activity around EWeek. If not, again, it's okay. But when we're talking about how to potentially engage engineers at the local level, that might be something you could do, especially when we're tying in the university. Is there something you could do? Could you do an activity? Maybe that's a chance to do an AWIM activity. Maybe it's just doing something on social media. Maybe it's just sharing member stories, just sharing. I'm just throwing it out there. Is there something you can do on EWeek? You don't have to, but potentially something there. When we get into March, that's Women's Month. Again, it's on the roadmap, but we will, again, send you collateral to share out there. But is there something at the section level you want to do to tie in members, volunteers, activities around celebrating women and engineers at the local level, events, stories, anything along those that you feel that is appropriate for the audience in your area. So those are just some things I really wanted to point out. And then we also need to consider how we recognize people. So you also see on our roadmap here, these are people we want to recognize for fellow. So people we want to recognize for awards. Again, it's all spelled out on your roadmap. That's what this is for. And I will continue to add to this roadmap. This is what I thought was important when I put it together. I feel like additional things will come up that are important as the months go on. I feel like you guys will tell me other things are important as the months go on, and that's okay. And I'll update it as appropriate. So I don't have anything else to add at this point to this conversation, and I'm going to open it up to questions because I feel like I've been talking forever. So if you have questions, I will take them now. Any questions?
Right.
No questions? Okay, well, if there's no questions right now, what I would invite you guys to do is review that roadmap and send me your thoughts. If there are things that you feel that could be added, please let me know. Because again, that was kind of everything I thought was important. I am not in the trenches. So if there's things you feel strongly that should be added, I would welcome your input. It is in the officer's toolbox. Again, I think I sent it out in July or August. And we can always change it if need be. But if not, that's okay too. So I guess that's all I have. I want to thank Scott for running this for us, Amanda for fielding questions, and everybody else for sitting and listening to me for the last 25 minutes. So thank you guys. Appreciate your time. And I guess that's it. I'll sign off.